You are listening to the Cookbook Love Podcast with Maggie Green, episode number 272.
Welcome to the Cookbook Love Podcast, a podcast that celebrates cookbook readers, buyers, collectors, writers, and clubs. And now your host, cookbook author, culinary dietitian, and cookbook writing coach, Maggie Green.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Cookbook Love Podcast. Happy Thanksgiving to all of my friends listening here in the States. Today is Thanksgiving Day, and I am obviously recording this earlier than Thanksgiving, but anticipating the day that's going to be coming up. I am hosting Thanksgiving this year. All of my sisters and my brother will be here, their spouses, and many of their children. I think we're going to have about 30 people, and I'm very excited about having them here. This is our first Thanksgiving without our mother. For those of you who have been here for a while, my mom passed away in February. Dad died in 2004, so we are moving forward without them, which is really odd to say and weird. I know many of you are members of this club also. We're going to do our best, though, to honor their memory and keep enjoying Thanksgiving like Mom would have wanted us to do. But I want to tell you a little bit of a story about preparing for Thanksgiving and mention something to you if you are someone who wants to write a cookbook. Because one of the things that confounds many of my students and people who listen to this podcast is comparing themselves to other people, and that what they may particularly enjoy isn't necessarily what other people enjoy. And how can we, as cookbook writers, really lean into the things that we enjoy? And my enjoyment in cooking does come from cooking. I love to put food together. I think I really enjoy meals shared with my family and friends. But I also enjoy going to the grocery store. And I go to the grocery store almost every week. I plan what I'm going to cook, go buy my ingredients. That way I have them on hand. And when I'm finished working, then around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I can head up to my kitchen, pour a big tall glass of nice sparkling water, cook my dinner, and listen to a podcast about Kentucky Sports Radio, called Kentucky Sports Radio, all about Kentucky sports. So that's my enjoyment in the evening, gives me a chance to slow down, and cooking is something that really does help connect me to the food that I'm eating and to people who I share meals with. So grocery shopping is a part of my routine in order to do that. But this morning when I arrived at our local Kroger to do my weekly grocery shopping, the parking lot was packed. Now, it was 7:15 in the morning, and usually the parking lot is not packed at 7:15 in the morning. And you may say, Maggie, why were you up at 7:15 going to the grocery? And I have to say, because it's my favorite time to go. I love getting up early, drinking my coffee, taking my shower. This particular day, I went to 6:30 Mass at our local parish and got over to Kroger around 7:15. But there were cars and people everywhere. And much to my surprise, even as I was headed into Kroger, there was even a line at the Kroger liquor store next door to the supermarket. I really wasn't sure what was going on, but undeterred, I set off. I had my list and really went in to enjoy my favorite time of the week. A weekly ritual that I have, a date with myself to gather ingredients for the upcoming meals. And of course, with Thanksgiving on my mind, I also had some things that I was going to start buying for preparing Thanksgiving dinner. So when I stepped into the vestibule of the store, there were all new carts. And I mean, they were brand new. There weren't any of the old carts anywhere. And then I walked into the store, the produce department, the cheese department, the meat department were all bursting with food. Colorful peppers, a lot of cheese like brie, bins of roast and sausage. And there were even people passing out samples and freebies all throughout the store, including a gentleman who was stationed outside the store passing out packs of Martin's potato rolls from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. Now, I love regional food. I love all these little regional food products. I got to talking to him about his rolls. I got to talking to him about my podcast episode last week with Ann Byler of Auntie Anne's Pretzels and her growing up in Lancaster. And anyway, I just think it's so easy and fun to talk to people about food, especially if it's a product that they love and believe in. This guy was sold on his potato rolls, and they were passing out free packs. I brought some home. They were really delicious. And I think they are trying to get more of them into the Kroger supermarkets. But I really thoroughly enjoyed my conversation with him. So Kroger was buzzing with activity, people, samples. So I started my shopping, pick up what I pick up. A few aisles in, I ran into a friend of mine named Kathy. Kathy goes to St. Agnes, where I go to church, and she has been working at Kroger for a long time. And I said to her, "Hey, Kathy, what's going on?" And she said, "It's our grand reopening this weekend. All the bigwigs are here." So the store had been opened, I guess and remodeled about 10 years ago. And they had just reorganized everything, spiffed everything up, got new carts, obviously, and had a grand reopening. And the store looked very beautiful, and it was very bright, and it seemed very festive. And I asked Kathy if all of her and her coworkers had been working, and she said, yeah, they had been working day and night to make the store look good, get it fully stocked. And I told her that it really showed. I thought that the store looked great. And anyway, she said she'd pass that along to the manager. So grocery shopping is one of those activities that I do as a cook and as a writer that just to me oozes abundance. When you walk into a grocery store and there's the fruits, no pun intended, of the work that farmers do and food producers do, if you really slow down and think about it, it's very awe-inspiring. And every time I leave with my food, I'm filled with appreciation for, first of all, that food is there for me to buy, that I didn't have to grow or produce on my own. I also am appreciative for all the people that work there, the Kathys of the world that I get to talk to along the way. And whenever I mention to friends of mine or family that I love to go to the grocery, they kind of look stunned. Some of them get it if they enjoy it also, but a lot of them just look at me and say, "Really?" And I say, "Yes, really. I love going to the grocery store." And the reason I'm mentioning this to you is because as cooks and bakers, if you want to write a cookbook, we all somehow have to access this joyful, abundant, fun, desirable emotion on a regular basis. We cannot write our cookbooks and our recipes and share food with people from a place of lack. We need to do something that fills us with this feeling, and grocery shopping does it for me. And I think that when I think about this emotion of abundance and joy and fun, I think about how it fuels my projects and fuels the work I do, even here today for this podcast, talking to you about this. It gets me all excited. But what we have to remember is that my fuel, the things that get me excited, is not going to be the same thing as your fuel, because that's not the point. The point is that we each find our own fuel and the things that make us feel abundant, and then we practice that and let it seep into our soul. And then when we're filled up with that, it is easier for us to feed to other people, whatever it is that lights our fire. We go out and spread that good news of food and cooking. We feed people, we cook meals, we write words, we prepare recipes, we write stories, we write books, all fueled by this feeling that we can all access in many different ways. And for me, that just happens to be a food market. When I go to Chicago to visit our oldest son, we'll go to a market there called Fresh Farms, and there's a lot of Eastern European food in there, fresh baked products from all over Chicago, sausages, feta cheese. I can close my eyes and envision that store. We love going to that store. Here in Cincinnati, there's an indoor market, one of the oldest public markets, Findlay Market. Love to go down there. We travel to other cities. We went to Cleveland a couple years ago for a wedding, and they have a couple of downtown supermarkets. One that had some special equipment for doing wine tasting that was very fun to explore, and another one that had a focus on Italian food. But these are the kinds of things that we even love to do when we travel, exploring in cities, going to food markets, seeing what they have going on, the kind of ingredients that they have. And it really helps me to connect to the city that I'm in, the people that live there, the kinds of foods that they eat, and the discovery of this abundance of food in many particular locations. So I think on this Thanksgiving Day, I want you to maybe just think about that. What is it that helps to fuel you with abundance when it comes to food and cooking? Maybe it's the actual act of cooking and sharing meals with other people. Maybe it's reading about food. I mean, this abundance of cookbooks that we have available, online sources for reading recipes and things that people write about food. Maybe it's visiting a farm or getting a CSA box if you subscribe to that, going to a farmer's market. Just remember that we need to access this so that we, as cooks and writers, are fed with this feeling of abundance so that we can feed other people. This is our work as cookbook writers. And on a day like Thanksgiving today here in the States, I just wanted to have this short time here with you to mention this, that food is all around us in a lot of different ways. Tap into the abundance of it in a way that lights your fire, and you will for sure become a cook and a writer that has the capacity to share all of this with other people, even if the way you're fed is similar to me, and that's by taking your weekly trip to the grocery store or the supermarket. So that is it for today's Thanksgiving episode of the Cookbook Love podcast. I'll be thinking of you all today. I'm going to be doing a pretty traditional meal. I have a menu in my first cookbook, the Kentucky Fresh Cookbook, with a brined turkey, bread stuffing. We're going to have some scalloped oysters, corn pudding. I usually make a kale salad. One of my sisters is going to bring a fruit salad. My brother-in-law, Bob, makes this really great cranberry sauce with dried cherries and cloves. One of my sisters is going to make some Brussels sprouts with cranberries. My son and his girlfriend, Jamie, will make the mashed potatoes. We're going to have chocolate pie, Dutch apple pie, pumpkin pie. And if all goes well, we will end the day we always play group Pictionary. I've got a big easel, and we have a lot of fun playing Pictionary. And then one of my sisters brings a game called Left, Right, Center, and it's a dice game, and many of us can play that at the same time. So those are the kinds of things we're going to be looking forward to here in our Kentucky home. And I wish you all a great day, a very happy Thanksgiving, and as always, keep loving your cookbooks.
Thanks for listening to the Cookbook Love podcast. You can find out more information at www.cookbooklove.co.